All right. All right. Here we go. We are live. All right. All you freedom loving boys and girls, Mark Centerline Systems, whomever you are, wherever you are on this beautiful blue marble of a planet we call Terra or Earth or Terra, whatever. Welcome to Centerline Systems, our loadout live. Thursday live is we're going to do a loadout tonight on the Mother Canteen Carrier, our second generation, the Mod Deuce. We have a special guest. I just talked to him a couple minutes ago. He's like, oh, I'm like just at my house. So, 1,700, let's just start off with some housekeeping. You guys chime in, whether you're watching live or if you watch this later on demand. Maybe 1,700 Central Time is not a good time for these loadouts or any of the lives, like, the CLS After Dark, tomorrow. Maybe 1,700 is a little too early. Maybe we need to bump this to 1,800 Central, 1,900 Eastern. Yeah, you guys just let me know. So that's one little piece of housekeeping. And as we're waiting for Mark Valley Reb to show up, I want to just do a couple little pieces of housekeeping that I also, matter of fact, and to the gentleman who called this fluff, forever in my brain it's now fluff. It's like, apparently this is fluff. I don't know. You're coming over here to watch the video looking for free stuff, or you're interested in the gear and what we're doing. I don't know, fluff, but I like it. I really do. So here's some fluff or some housekeeping, some stuff. And it's a request for you guys, right? Because, we're doing this. I'm not doing this for me. I mean, I hope you guys are getting, value, or what do they call it? Education and entertainment out of it. Edutainment or entercation, whatever. You get the point. But, seriously, I want this to be for you guys. Same with the CLS After Dark. So, give me a second here. So Phil G, I won't say his last name, didn't give me permission, but Phil G sent me an email the other day talking about one of our last CLS After Darks. And it was during that conversation, we were talking about things that a lot of people don't know, that isn't getting taught. And he sent me this really awesome email. I want anyone to see his stuff here. There we go. Covered that up like that. There we go. And sent me a nice email and was saying, hey, this might be a good idea for a CLS After Dark sometime in the future. And he tells me this great story of his grandfather and his dad's dad was in the Marines, retired as a first sergeant, fought in Korea, Vietnam, taught SEER amongst other things. He worked in the timber industry, avid outdoorsman. His mother said, in reference to this gentleman's grandfather, her father said he knew just about everything about trees, guns, and hunting, hunted their dinner, lots of nights. I really wish I could have learned from him. His grandfather passed. Anyway, that's a personal story. But his idea for a show would be for myself and a guest to talk about what we think is an essential list of, he says stuff, but you know what he's talking about, essential list of tasks or skills that you would want to teach your hypothetical grandson if you had the chance. I think it's a damn good idea. Let me know what you think. Part of me, we still have Millstone. We just had to put on hold. It's a million things going on. And Millstone was going to be more of our instruction, homesteading, that kind of stuff. I don't know if that would be a good one for Millstone, or if it would be a good CLS After Dark, or a Thursday night live, or a loadout, but instead of a loadout, it's a skill set loadout. I really like that. Phil G, thank you for sending me that email. You guys and gals, same thing, reach out. If you've got an idea that you would like to see brought up, again, whether it's in these loadouts, whether it's the CLS After Dark, where we're just having a drink, trying to have some fun. Some people might think it's political. I really don't, but just talking about interesting subjects, or if we should do this over on Millstone. But Phil, I think that was a great email. I really appreciate it. I really like the idea. And then speaking of CLS After Dark, of course I don't have any toilet paper around here. All right, come on, Nose. Don't fail me now. Just stay with me, buddy. Stay with me. Hey, here's what we got going on here, just to give you a heads up for the rest of the month. So tonight we're doing the Mother loadout, Mother Canteen Carrier, the second generation, the Mod Deuce. We're going to do that with Valley Reb. He's got a great account over on Instagram, takes great pictures. He's big into I don't want to call it reenactment. It's more like the live version of reenactment. and the living history of like that late 1700s period. And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit here tonight. That is, if he can join us. We'll see how this goes. He's not here yet. Where are you, Mark? Where are you? And actually, maybe we'll tell our story about people named Mark. But anyway, so that we got Mark, aka Valley Reb, coming on tonight. Now, tomorrow night's up in the air a little bit. Just because I'm going through some personal thought process and I don't have my answer quite yet. So, but we have a CLS After Dark. We have a guest scheduled, but something else has happened in just the last couple of days in our overarching history, the political, geopolitical landscape, however you want to describe it. And I might call an audible and shift focus and shift attention. But we are doing a CLS After Dark tomorrow night. That's the 6th of December. That's when the Japanese were all out there, in the ocean. I mean, like, let's just be honest. You got to give those guys props. That was a ballsy move, and that took a lot of, courage and skill to, they're out there in the middle of the ocean right now, about to kick off a war with America. And that's so Saturday the 7th is, don't forget, is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And by the way, we got to give a huge shout out to Murph Nuge and all the kids from the Seymour Young Marines. And thanks to all you great guys and gals who participated in that charity auction, because they are in Pearl right now for the anniversary, for the celebrations. Murph just sent me a text message last night, just rubbing in the fact that he's over there in Hawaii, but it was really cool. And they're getting their work out of it. And, but tomorrow's, Saturday the 7th, Sunday the 7th. And I'm sure Saturday the 6th are going to be huge days for those young men and women. Hey, Mark, can you hear me down there? Hey, just give me a thumbs up if you want to come on now, or if you thumbs down if you want to wait. Okay. I just got a little housekeeping to do, so just give me a sec. Everybody, you've seen him before. The man, the myth, the legend, Mark, a.k.a. Valley Reb. Look at him doing a little Valley Reb dance there. Hey, Mark, I just got a handful, just a few more little items, and let's come over and I'll introduce you, and we'll just jump right into it. I'm just going down our list of what we've got going on for future live streams here in the next couple weeks. So I just said it with the 6th tomorrow. That's out it's in the open right now, but we are doing a CLS After Dark. Then on the 12th of December, it's not a loadout. I'm going to do a Christmas movie special. That's right. Thursday, the 12th is going to be a Christmas. Mark's list of what he thinks are Christmas movies on Thursday, the 12th. I'm also going to maybe talk about a new hoodie design. It depends if Mark and I get to that in tonight's conversation. And maybe 2 new hoodie designs. Speaking of hoodies, there it is. You can still get it in time for Christmas. Just one of the options. Then on the 13th of December, which is Saturday, DB and P. Rick are going to come on, and we're going to sit, and that's our CLS After Dark, and we're going to talk about the coast bombings and Benghazi. We all have our own little nexus for those events, and we're going to sit and talk about that. Then on the 19th of December, I'm going to do a loadout live with so there's a version of a G3 gear roll we've made for some guys in the ham radio world. I'm going to have one of those ham radio guys on, and we're going to talk about kind of like a G3 loadout, but specific to ham radio. So if any of you guys are ham radio enthusiasts or are interested in learning more about ham radio, Thursday the 19th is going to be a good one. And then on the 20th of December, we're bringing on our good friend Blackbeard. And we're going to talk about, and I'm not sure, think about this in the terms of like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, something like, UFOs and aliens and ancient, astronauts. Oh my, something. It's going to be just having a little bit of fun because, that's right before Christmas. Don't want to be too serious, although that is an incredibly serious conversation, potentially. 26th of December, probably not going to do a live stream. That's Thursday. It's the day after Christmas. I mean, we'll just see. That's to be determined right now. And then last but not least, and I haven't had a chance to look at the chat yet. Okay, the accessorizer is here. So John, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but right now John has volunteered to come back on the 27th of December for our CLS After Dark. That's Friday. Oh shit, that's Friday the 13th. I'm sorry. Yeah, that Coast Benghazi conversation is going to be on Friday the 13th. And then John's going to come on Friday, the 27th of December. and we're just going to sit and have fun. It's just after Christmas, and we're just going to tell bullshit Army stories and military stories. All right, that's our schedule for the Thursdays and Fridays going forward till the end of the month. Phil, I really like Phil's idea. And if we do that, it might be better suited over at Millstone. But you guys and gals tell me what you think, and we'll just take it there. And Phil, if you watch this, if you're here with us live or if you watch it on demand, leave a comment or reach out to me. And then, Mark, before I do this real quickly, because I just want to get caught up, I really do on these loadouts on my Thursdays. I'd like to give everybody a quick shout out. So just bear with me one last second. Gene with a big woo. Snowshoe checking in. Good evening. And he says to Gene and to everyone else, Gene, you've got your own following. Gene is live. And then we got the accessorizer, AKA Gimli, reporting for duty. I got to find the clip. Throw me. What? Throw me. It's something like that. Anyway, if you
don't tell the health.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. All right. Gene, love all the infotainment and fun stuff. Great guests and stories on all channels you stream on. Keep it up. All right, Gene's kind of weighing in. 17 or 18 is only 10 or 11 UK. Well, then, Gene, we might start pushing these back to 1800 my time, because I think that does work a little bit better here in the States and probably for a lot of my guests, because, Mark, you can chime in on this a second. But 17. So Mark is East Coast. We just got to get rid of fucking the time, the daylight savings and anything. So putting that aside, you guys know I hate daylight savings. But anyway, Mark's one time zone ahead of me. Mark, was this a little too early for you, or would you have liked it if it was an hour later? Or would that have been a problem for you if it was 1900 your time?
1900 would be better.
19 would be better. Yeah. All right. Stay tuned then, boys and guys and gals. We might just keep it the way it is through the end of the year in order to not disrupt what we already got going on, and then just kick off 2025 and go to the new schedule. Tennessee, haven't seen Tennessee in the house for a while. She's saying, hi, you boys. Yeah. And then Gene, everybody's kind of chiming in. No one's seen Tennessee for a while. Tennessee is giving you a shout out, Valley Reb. She says, love my rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got a couple just back and forth, ha-has. And then we got a big woo from Alpha Omega. All right. I think we're caught up. Mark, AKA Valley Reb, why don't you people have seen you. People know who you are. Obviously, people love the rabbits, but how about just give a little bit of your background for those who don't know who you are. And then the smoking rabbit, obviously that background, might as well throw that in here right now too.
Okay. Yeah. Mark, that's my name. Valley Revs, what everybody knows me with on Instagram, and been an outdoor enthusiast probably most of my life since I can remember. Back to when I was like 2 years old and throwing rocks in streams and things like that. So,
you mean throwing rocks at cars?
Yeah.
Even at 2, you were probably throwing rocks at cars.
That too. Yeah, and grew up in the Cub Scout, Boy Scout thing, and then did a little stint in the military, and then did Boy Scouts as a Scoutmaster. Did that for 20 years and had a lot of Eagle Scouts under my belt. So that was I loved having that happen, and I loved sharing what I knew. And that's what kind of got me into the Instagram world was, hey, I love this. I'll share it with everybody, and maybe I can pass along a skill or two that everybody likes. But then I also got involved in living histories, Civil War, and French and Indian War. And then that took me down another rabbit hole. And got me.
Let's just use that right there. Let's just jump right into it because you just said it, down the rabbit hole. So, in a couple of these late night lives, some people have reached out to me afterwards because either myself or the guest says, oh, maybe that's a rabbit hole we don't want to go down. The answer is no, rabbit holes are fun. That's the exploration that, you don't know what's down there. Go down there and just explore and see what's going on. Mark and I are think of maybe doing a hoodie design. Do you want to just kind of say a little bit about that?
Take the lead on it.
Okay. So another little hoodie design, and we just don't know the verbiage because Mark kind of laughed. I was like, explore the rabbit hole or embrace the rabbit hole. Mark thought that was maybe a little too sexual in content, like, or could be taken, misconstrued that way. But something about don't be afraid of, and see there, now that you got me saying it and thinking it, anything you say sounds negative, or sexual context. But, don't be afraid of the rabbit hole, embrace the rabbit hole, jump on in. Here's the, the rabbit hole, whatever. But on, rabbit, obviously in the letter R, up in that upper space of the R, we could have Mark's badass, smoking rabbit patch. Yeah, right there, just sitting in that part of the R for the rabbit. And then in the O for the hole would just be my, like this would be your O, is like, this, the center line symbol,
Nice.
So I guess, and Mark's going to think of a charity. So, just like that, we'll, if we do it, it won't be until next year. And then when we bring it up, again, same thing, proceeds will go to a charity of Mark's choice. But just to give everybody a heads up, if you hear us starting to chuckle about rabbit holes, that it's, Mark and I aren't gay for each other. It's just, there was some other.
Right. Doesn't mean we'll take warm showers.
Well, I doesn't mean I'm not going to say no. I mean, yeah, I'll say it. All right, continue. There, take us into Smoking Rabbit. We just kind of segued right there.
Yeah, the idea of the Smoking Rabbit is that it's loosely based on a Native American tale that this panther was stalking a rabbit, and the rabbit was so confident in his skills to evade the panther that he had time to stop and smoke a pipe. And I guess the message is, be so confident in your skills that you're not afraid. And, the knowledge that you learn is portable, and that makes you more knowledgeable, more expertise, more confident in yourself. And that's really what the message of the Smoking Rabbit is about. It's just learn all you can so you can be confident and unafraid of what may come your way.
And, and if you're, with that confidence, yeah, you're in a dangerous situation. But, I think the example of the rabbit sits down and smokes a bowl of, whatever the finest that, think about the Hobbit. I'm trying to think when they were talking about smoking tobacco in there. And who knows if it was actually tobacco that the Hobbit was. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, this is the best, fog bottom blue, or whatever they were saying. But, yeah. but to Mark's point though, like, I think that's what the analogy of the parable there is that, with training, with that, comes, that helps into your mindset, that develops. And then now you can look at a pen and you're like, yeah, okay, this isn't just a pen. There's a lot of things I could do with this, both, kinetically and otherwise. And that just, and then all that skill, all that experience then leads into a confidence, not an arrogance, but a confidence that, like, hey, I've got time. I don't need to be panicked here. I can sit down, smoke a pipe, which actually calms you down a little bit. Yep. Think about what I'm doing and then just continue on with my mission.
That's right.
Yeah. That's what I always like about that patch. And over here, I've got actually the really cool color one that Mark gave me a couple years ago. That's pretty badass. Hey, do you still have that one available?
I do.
Okay. Do you want to give everybody a quick shout out if they don't know where to get your stuff?
Yeah, that's on my Instagram page. There's a link in my bio, or you can go to the Etsy store and search the Smoking Rabbit and it'll pop right up.
And hopefully you get his store and not some other smoking something else, And
if you go to Amazon and you're buying one, don't buy it there because that's the cheap Chinese knockoffs that they stole from me.
No bueno. Do not buy cheap Chinese knockoffs. And we're about to talk about the Mother Canteen Carrier. And Lord knows, they say flattery is the best form of whatever.
We went down that road, didn't we?
Yeah. No. Yes. Screw people who go and take your idea and then outsource it to China and make a cheap fucking knockoff of your product. There's a special place in hell for those people, to tell the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, so how about this? Unless there's anything more that you want to plug on the merch side or the patches or anything.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I don't know whose anorak that you got on, but that's looking pretty badass and pretty warm.
Oh yeah, this is I'm just wearing it outside because it's like 8 degrees outside. Johnny Jewel, Simple Woodsman over in Denmark. He made it.
No, it looks pretty damn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's made out of Mongolian goat wool.
Something tells me Mongolian goats know how to stay warm in cold weather.
Yeah.
That whole Mongolia.
Great.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's his own special design, and I don't think he makes them anymore, but I was lucky enough to get one when he did.
You got yours. That's all that matters. I got mine, boys and girls. All right. We're going to jump into seeing what Valley Reb has for us tonight as far as how he has it loaded out. Now, I'm here to tell you, if you don't follow him on Instagram, because you look, I can tell Mark loads his stuff up and then loads it again for a different thing that he's doing. You can just tell by the pictures and the different configurations. So I don't know what configuration he's going to have now. But I just wanted to do one quick little kind of history, because Mark does a lot of living history. And if you didn't know the history of the Mother Canteen Carrier, I just down and dirty. So when I first started Centerline Systems, I made a belt because all the gun belts out there were shit. So then I had to find somebody who could sew. And then I almost lost a knife out bow hunting when I was field dressing an animal. Then I made a G3 for my, so that's how it all started. And at this beginning, and then I was making the Thor system, which was the tactical hunting, outdoor, and recreation. It was anyway, this isn't a story about that. But so I was making a couple products. And then Jason from Leicester River and George from Puco Cutlery were bugging me, one time. And they're like, you really need to make a canteen carrier. And I had not the intention to do that. I was still thinking more into the tactical world because of my background and everything. And they bugged me, and I'm like, we were at George's shop one time, and I was just visiting, saying hi to those guys. And I'm like, okay, well, here's how I would do it. And I literally grabbed a napkin and a pen, and I just started outlining how I would do this. And yeah, here, I'll grab this one though. And so if you just think of a USGI canteen, now this has got the mud flap on, but so the USGI canteen, the issued canteen carrier from, from way back until just even still kind of even currently has like a small little pocket on the side for a water purification, bottled water purification tablets, or an earplug case. That's how big it was. The little, yellow rectangular, 1.5 by 1.5 earplug cases on both sides. And then the front was clean. But my very first duty station was the 101st Airborne. We're an air assault unit. So, everybody had one of these strobe lights. And so my squad leader was like, hey, take your strobe light pouch, take your canteen, go off base to, so-and-so's alteration store. He's going to rip your strobe light pouch apart, and you're going to end up having to pay for it when you clear, CFS or CIF when you cleared the unit. But that's only going to cost you $5. But this way, your strobe light is always on your canteen, which should always be on your body. And we use strobe lights all the time. Now, these strobe lights are both visual. You can see it with the naked eye. And then right now it's got the infrared cap on it for, nighttime ops under knots. And so that's really, so when I drew this up, I was just like, well, okay, well, these little pouches in the military were too small, so I'm going to make them larger. And then we always sewed our own pouch on the front of it anyway. So why not make a larger pouch where you can store, even better and more options than just a strobe light? And that's kind of a little history of the Mother, but I'm hoping it sets Mark up, Valley Reb, for as he jumps into how he's got his setup and what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I'm going to grab something. Okay. So let's see how we're going to do this. So,
and as you're doing this, I might bring you full screen, but right now everybody can see that pretty damn good.
Okay, so this is my kit. It's got a G2 underneath of it, and then it's got the Mother on top, of course. Like Mark said, my loadout varies depending on what I'm doing. So it's if you want to say mission oriented, that's what it's geared towards. So this is just it's set up for daytime hike. But I also have shelter, water purification, all this stuff in here. So we're going to go through that, and then we'll field any questions that you have afterwards. All right.
Yep. Or if anyone pops up, with questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to probably, if you don't mind, I'm going to probably bounce you back and forth from solo layout to this format right here where we both can be seen. Because it is kind of close, and I hope, you can kind of even just lean back a tad so people can see it. Because, and one thing I want to point out, even though we're talking about the mother, I do my G3 the same way you do. So, and I think that even though we don't have to do a G3 loadout, but when we talk about what can be attached on the bottom, yep. So here, I'm going to bring you solo, and maybe you want to just talk about that.
So, yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like how this bounces around on them, but I've never had that problem because one, I secure it with the straps that come with it. Then I have an extra set of straps that run through the molly and the bottom of the mother, and then through the handle I run the flap cover. I don't know what you call that, but you run that through the handle and then you cinch it tight. And then when you do this becomes secure.
Yep. And, so he's run straps. So right through the bottom on all that molly on the bottom, he runs straps through there. And then if you have the G3, there's molly on that too. But and then and then just runs that in there and secures it, and then takes this, flap strap, runs it through the handle of the G2, attaches it back up to the mother and secures it. Now, and you've got a really cool handle. That's got a bunch of paracord on it.
Yeah. So I wove a little Cobra paracord onto it so that I had 10, 15 feet of paracord there handy if I needed it. Plus it just gave the handle a little bit more girth to grab,
That's what she said.
And then, let's see. So should we dive into what I carry, or?
If you just want to, if you just want to share.
So the thought that I have behind my gear is the more you know, the less you carry, right? So you're able to rely on your skills more than you are equipment. And I'm not a big fan of carrying a ton of equipment because equipment fails, knowledge doesn't. It's always there. It's always present with you. So
unless you have hypothermia.
Well, that's another issue. So my kits are really simple. They're minimalist. Covers basically the 5 C's, right? Cover, cutting, cordage. So we'll go through this real quick. On the outside, I've got a Baco saw that I carry on the inside of this little saw pouch. And I run it so that the cords are down and they go down into, so that way I can just pull the handle and I can access my saw really quick. Then on the outside, I also, through the loops, I carry a tomahawk, and that just, it sits on, as I'm carrying it, it just floats down through there, and it's there, and I can just grab it by the head and go to town with it. I got used to carrying a tomahawk because I've done French and Indian War reenacting, and it's just a piece of kit that became pretty important to me. And not that I've ever had to use it for anything violent, but it's there, and it's a good camp axe for clearing out small branches, whatever, but it's also there just in case.
Well, and you also, it looks like your hawk has a hammer back.
Yes.
Yep. And so
I use that hammer.
Yep. And that's what I was going to say. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be, an offensive or defensive, tool. It's an outdoor tool. I mean, there's definitely a trade-off. If you can only carry one thing, is it going to be this or is it going to be that? A camp axe or a tomahawk that has that hammer back, that, ranks very highly as opposed to a machete or whatever, because there's a lot of things you can do with that.
A lot of people carry hawks that have they're war hawks, so they've got the spike on the end. And I mean, when are you going to use that, really? Are you going to punch through car hoods with that or whatever? But
zombie apocalypse.
Hammer, I like multi-use tools, so that's what this is. Got a cutting edge. Oop, getting off camera. It's got the cutting edge, and then it's got the hammer.
Yeah. And that hammer is so good for just pounding intense steaks or, breaking open a rock or whatever you need to do with it. I mean, seriously. Yeah.
Even breaking apart processing game.
Bones, shells. Yeah. No. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
It's actually very useful. On the outside, I have a striker, dog tags for ID.
Hey, can you lift it up? Yeah, or maybe just move back just a tad, because there you go. Now people can.
Okay.
There you go.
Let me angle this down a little bit.
Here you go.
Okay. So, striker, and then you have the two pockets, right? Let's lower this down a little bit more. All right. So the two pockets, and in the first side pocket, I don't normally build fires unless I feel like it's okay, but I usually like to go stealthy. So I carry a bottle of alcohol for my alcohol stoves.
Hey, can you go back to that real quickly? That was a pretty substantial little bottle you got there. Let me bring you up full screen.
Yeah, it carries 8 ounces of fuel, and most Trangias, 15-minute burn is an ounce or two. So it's a couple of uses anyway. But yeah, that's just my fuel bottle. And then over here on this side, I carry a hank of paracord. That's 25 feet. And then in the front pocket, I have a fire starting kit. It's also got a little broken mosquito incense that I burn. An extra flint for my flint and steel, and a char tin, and some plugs, wax plugs, so that I can start fires with pretty quick. So, fire kit in one of Mark's Altoids tins.
Yeah, we don't do those anymore. That was a lot of money and effort, and not very many people actually. They're like, well, I mean, let's just be honest. I got to throw myself under the bus. I mean, like, I was buying Altoids tins, that size tins, bringing them or sending them out to my buddies at Fog Firearms, having them Cerakoted, and that's that distressed orange Cerakote that looks like it's been in a fire. And then I think I was selling them like for $25, and my cost with the shipping was like 23. Like, I was just not losing money. But everybody's like, yeah, but I can just go get an Altoids tin. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not cool. So
but it's not cool.
It's not cool. Yeah.
Sewing kit with a couple of needles in there. So it's nylon and cotton.
Hey, and if you don't mind, I just want to pause you on that. I'm already liking your, I wanted you to show that up a little bit. But that is another, to me, almost, it's maybe not a tier 1 mission critical, but it's really close. You have to have some type of needle, because look, you could always take your innards out of your paracord for thread, to suture yourself or to sew some up. But man, you've got to have needle and thread. I'm so glad to see that you had that in there.
Yeah. Always.
I don't know why people don't.
So many times.
Yeah, I don't know why it is that people don't think about stuff like that.
And the nylon thread you could use for snares. You could use it for, whatever. I mean, if you needed to whip the end of your paracord, or, there are a million uses for it. Suture yourself.
Boys and girls, get out there, get yourself some needle and thread, and start learning how to do some just basic stitching, right? If you had look at that awesome, so here, I'm being very serious. Look at that awesome jacket you have. That, if it's around a fire, unlike modern, a lot of modern stuff, isn't going to lose a cell and completely fail. But maybe he doesn't see the ember and it burns all the way through. Okay. But he's like, well, okay, I'm just going to stitch that up. And then, I don't know, man.
Good to go.
Yeah.
I carry a sharpening stone for my sharps. and I carry a small file to take any big nicks out of my tomahawk or knife or whatever. So we got that. I carry a little pocket bellows with me to get my fires nice and hot. Hardly weighs anything. Totally worth having one of these.
And just on that note, because I was just thinking there's somebody like, man, I can just blow into the fire. Or you could use the bellows and actually not be face down in it, getting sparks and be able to direct all of that oxygen exactly to where you want it to go. So the fire actually ignites a lot faster. So,
and it's white hot.
Yeah. I've seen people poo those and I'm like, man, no, that's actually.
So, I got tired of sticking my face down in there and sucking in about 2 pounds of smoke. You got to have candleage. So rechargeable flashlight with a magnetic base so I can put it wherever I want if I need to. I got a little brew kit that I carry. Then it's my drink of choice is mate, which is a South American drink. Kind of got used to it when I lived down there. So
is that like a caffeine-based drink, like a tea?
Yeah, it's mega. It's mega caffeine. But it's got a lot of other goodies too. Minerals, nutrients, whatever. It's just to keep me going. So if I'm feeling fatigued, I make a quick brew. Now I got some energy and keep going. All right.
Well, hey, just real quickly before you go further. So mine's just a little bit cleaner than yours. So everybody, all he just did was the side pocket, the molly straps in between there's a molly strap between every side pocket and the main pocket. And all of that gear is just all right out there across the front of his carrier. That's all it is so far.
Yeah.
Do that with one of your cheap Chinese knockoffs, motherfuckers.
Woo.
Sorry. Get ready for tomorrow night.
So let's get to the guts.
All right.
So you're
running. Oh no, you put an Osprey top on. What do you got there?
So I have a heavy canteen.
Yeah, heavy cover
with a Crusader cup and burner.
Yeah.
So this is the British burner, and then down on the bottom I put carbon fiber down in there. They use an alcohol gel, but I use the carbon fiber, and then I just shoot alcohol straight into there, and that's my burner, and it works perfectly. So,
boys and girls, just real quickly. So, and Mark, I called it Osprey. I think Osprey was the brand that was making it for him, but it is, the Crusader. Once I saw that cup, I thought you were running a Crusader, but I like that concept. That's a really damn good. Can you just go over that slowly? Because I kind of got a little excited and ruined your intro.
Yeah, no, this is the Crusader cup, right?
So that's just a plastic drinking cup that comes with it.
It's a plastic cup, so you don't burn your lips drinking out of the metal one that you boil everything in, right? And then you've got your canteen and your canteen cup, which is the heavy cover.
Hey, but go back to your heavy cover because it looks like you modified that a little bit too. You already have up on the top there.
Yeah, so I don't want to lose my lid, so I
dummy cord.
Did a little cord on there, so when I pull it off, I don't drop it.
Got it.
I want to keep everything tight, right?
Well, what also would be nice about that is you wouldn't quite be able to do. I thought actually you had rigged it up so you could just have that just right above the fire.
Well,
yeah, no, but you are running it in that burner. So that's in my brain. I got to get my head around your concept. Now go back to the burner itself though.
So the burner itself is just the Crusader burner. And I put some carbon fiber felt down in the bottom of that, and that acts as my alcohol burner.
And that's what you're just putting your alcohol, your liquid alcohol into.
Yeah, just shoot it straight into there and hit it with a ferro rod, and you're good to go.
Wow. So I never even thought you could put the heavy cover and a heavy cover canteen. Yeah. Well, you put the, oh, Jesus Christ. Hell yeah, man. That's a nice setup, dude.
So yeah, so
did you have to bend the Crusader that a little bit to fit the heavy cover, or was it able to nest in there?
No, it nests perfectly in it.
Damn.
And then that's your burner, right? So then it's way better than the GI stove that comes with the older canteen system. The USGI one, that thing sucks. This thing it's got all these holes, get a lot of air into your stove. It protects it from the wind. You can get them from the company, I think, called BCB makes them.
Just the bottom?
I don't know if you can buy just the bottom, but if buy the whole kit, I mean, you can pick up a whole Crusader for nothing. But yeah, so then you drop that handle down across there, and you just set your cup right in there.
Nice.
And
then you still have, so you actually are running a 2-cup system because you still have your plastic cup that's nested up on top of the canteen. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my cook system.
Yeah. No, that's sweet. That's a really, because a lot of times, like if you're running a 2-cup system on this, the cup is way up higher, and then you got to have the jump strap. Yours, I saw the Crusader cup when you were about to pull it out, and I was like, yeah. And I thought that's all you were running, but that's a really nice setup, dude.
Well, and then in the very bottom of the pouch, right, I keep a little space blanket in there, but you could put a lot of stuff down on the bottom and then pack your canteen down on top of that. That's an area where people forget to use. Just because your canteen's there doesn't mean you can't put something else underneath of it.
Well, and that's where you should put some lickies and chewies, socks, whatever, do-rag, something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, before you go any further, there was a couple comments, and I don't want to get too far past it because there's a question or two here for you. I think this is where I left off. Ground Fog, because I didn't see that. So, hey, Ground Fog, thank you for joining us. So here it is. Here's the question that came in before you go much further. Hey, Valley Reb, do you ever do a camera loadout only? Like, in other words, where it's not what we're doing, but it's, just the camera and your hands and you're doing a loadout. Have you ever done a loadout like that, thinking of using his for just local walks? I can almost answer a little bit. He does a bunch of that on his YouTube channel, or on his Instagram. But I think he's asking if you ever you got a YouTube channel and do this over on YouTube.
I don't. I did have I have a YouTube channel, 21st Century Long Hunter. But I stopped because videos just take so much time, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to editing and putting the videos together. So catch me on Instagram. That's where I live.
But you have done a bunch of that on Instagram.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so again, his Instagram is at Valley Reb.
Yep.
Yeah, at Valley Reb. Matter of fact, just see the last post, and if you don't know, just see the last post I did because I reposted his pic and tagged him in it, so you'll get his Instagram right there. Then we got Tennessee saying, "Hey, nice kit so far." Gene chiming in about those tins. He likes his tin. Angry Viking Veteran. Wow, that's a nice setup, and we're not even through yet. So I mean, it is a nice setup. And then here, Gene commenting, "That's a damn good cook set." He has one himself. No, Gene, do you have the same thing or just the Crusader? Because I've never seen anyone take a heavy cover, which I'm a big proponent of. I'm a big fan, and then combine it with the other components of the Crusader to make an even better one. That's what I'm impressed with.
Yeah, the heavy canteen's bomb-proof. I love that thing. That's my go-to. And I wish they made this out of titanium. That would be sweet, but it weighs nothing. I mean,
I think the only thing you'd get out of that from, whatever metal it is now versus titanium is just a little bit more longevity and a little bit better of that heat transference.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem, titanium would be.
Yeah. It would just feed my fetish.
Hey, are we going down a rabbit hole? Hey, here we go. A couple just last comments. Savage Lee. Hey, I haven't seen you before, Savage Lee. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us. Hey, all. I made my own field pack medical my medical kit, or IFAC, if you will, from compression, gauze, quick clot, etc. Yeah, you know, so yeah, and honestly, we haven't gotten back to the pockets, but if you're talking like an IFAC, that main middle pocket, you know, is a great place for, you know, maybe I'll do some of the stuff that I'm carrying. You know, everybody carries something different, but you know, 5x7 sil nylon tarps, a boo-boo kit, you know, IFAC. I would push you towards the IFAC kit I make for Jacket Black Scout Survival, but it is my channel and that's something I make and we're proud of. But yeah, but you can make that stuff yourself. Most of the IFACs that I have, I don't have pre-purchase inserts because, just to your point, Savagely, I'm just doing it all myself. I've got all the gear and I know what I need and I just put it together and then either vacuum seal it or bungee cord it together. And kind of to Mark's point, and by bungee cord, I'm talking about like, you know, like inner tube or rubber band, because then that's really secure. You know, inner tube works really well, but it also is another fuel source if you needed to burn it. And then the final comment, and then we're caught up. Just back to you on that. Yeah, he's saying the UK set, not the titanium canteen. Gotcha. So he's got a Crusader as well. Yeah. Well, I like that combination. That's going to give me something to look at here over the winter, is to take my kit. And I do have a Crusader I purchased for props and for, you know, showing off the videos. I never thought about combining them that way now. And truth be told, part of it, and before we go any further, boys and girls, you got to know your environment, your skill set, like Mark's saying, you know, and then also what it is that you're trying to accomplish, how you're doing it. I live in northern Minnesota. You know, there are burn bans here sometimes, but that's for like, you know, doing giant fires in your backyard and everything. It's very rare do we ever have it so dry that we have a big burn ban. And there's so much tinder and so much water around here. The ability just to make your own fire, you know, whether it's a Dakota, whatever type of fire you want to make, you can do that so quickly. But to Mark's point, but it would be nice. Like, I don't even want to take the time to go do tinder and feel. No, I can just set this up, do that with my alcohol. And then now I've got a hot brew, whether that's cocoa, you know, coffee, or that high speed, half cocaine, half caffeine, or whatever thing Mark's doing from his time in South America.
Yerba mate.
All right, I think we're caught up so far. Okay, now we're still on the inside. We haven't even finished the inside. Yep.
So we go to the back, and it has a pocket. This pocket, and in that pocket, drop that. I have the lid to my cook set, which, by the way, fits the Crusader cup.
Nice.
Yep. And then I have.
But that was the heavy cover lid, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fits the Crusader. Yeah, I'm gonna really have to start fucking around with that. I did not know any of that. That's pretty cool, man. I did not know that would fit on that nest.
So I carry a little titanium grill with me, so I can make an open fire if I want to. But then I also carry Firebox Nano titanium, and so it folds down flat, and it just sits right in that pocket. And if I want to burn, make a fire and do it that way, I can. So just keeping some options. And it's titanium, so it doesn't weigh that much. So I don't even think about it when it's in there.
Hey, and just on that note, and I was kind of hoping you had something like that in your loadout. And if you don't mind, I'm going to, show that. And then go back to that. You said that was a Firebox Nano, or was that?
This is a Firebox TI Nano.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The Nano. Right. Well, that's a little bit different from mine. So maybe the TI is something, but I do want to just plug this. Now, this company's not in business anymore. Everybody just hang with me. I'm going to share a screen, and don't take what I just said the wrong way. So this company that is selling what I'm showing you, the Canadian Outdoor Equipment, they're still in business, but Purcell Trench, who makes this grill. And now I don't have mine here with me. It's actually with my friends over at Fog Firearms, because we're looking at potentially making our own version of this solo trench. Now, Purcell made it in stainless and titanium. That's kind of that price point you see right there. I don't think we would probably start off with titanium. We'd probably start off with stainless. So just stay tuned, but that's something for next year. But this Canadian Outdoor Equipment, they must have had a pretty decent inventory because they're still selling it. So now, if you don't want to go with what Mark just said, because I do like my Solo grill, the one I have from Purcell. It's not as robust as Mark's, but I also have a Firebox, a little nano that sits and nests in that sleeve as well. Again, I don't have to use mine very often, just because of where I live, but those are some nice options right there. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. If you didn't get a chance to see that, let me know. But one more time, it's CanadianOutdoorEquipment.com and Purcell Trench. And then, like Mark just said, not to, I'm not poo-pooing, Firebox or Emberlit or anything. Those are great little stoves. And especially for people who live in those environments where you do get a lot of burning bans and you got to use alcohol fires or things of that nature. So.
And then lastly, we've got
well, we're not done. We got the back of the canteen. Now, maybe you don't do much on yours, but I'll show mine off real quickly. So now I've got, here, I just want to say this real quickly. So in that back area, so right now I just wanted to show it off. So this is just a little Mora knife, but that back slip pocket, if you wanted to, that's also a great place for, throwing in a knife, a fixed blade if you wanted. And then just the last thing, the backside is Molly, so you can attach it to some other, here, I should probably do it this way so I'm closer. So you can attach it to another item. Not everybody carries it over the shoulder. But what I just wanted to point out is, again, with a knife is I've seen lots of people who, if they're carrying it over the shoulder, they'll run some type of fixed blade back through the Molly on the backside. So Mark's, I kind of figured Mark wasn't running anything like that. So before he went into the padded strap wrap, going back to fixed blades. Now, Mark's got that awesome Hawk, but, and there's a lot of things. That's what I like about a Hawk. A Hawk is manageable. It's very controllable. You can do a lot of whittling and finer things with it. But, it is nice to have a nice little fixed blade if you're going to be doing any, filleting a fish or skinning a rabbit or whatever you're doing. That might be a little bit better than having a Hawk.
For sure. So do we want to go through the G2 or do we just want to stay with the shoulder strap? You've got.
No, I mean, no, you mean the gear roll?
Yeah.
No, let's just kind of, let's just do the PSW because we're going to do the gear roll as a completely separate loadout at some point in the future.
Perfect. So even the strap on, I use it. I use the inside of it. It Velcros open. And
hey, just right there, if you don't mind, I know like right there, somebody's like, oh gosh, that's why I hate Velcro. But we did that intentionally. What you just saw Mark going through is intentional because you don't want that to just flop open and your gear to come out. I mean, yeah. So that wasn't just like a fail and a struggle. No, that's intentional. There's a lot of Velcro and yeah. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
So I have it set up that I have a little piece of paracord hanging out of there and I can just pull that, right? So I have quick access to a bunch of cord if I need it. Reach up, pull it down. I've got instant cord without having to take apart the entire strap. But then within the strap.
Hey, but before you go any further on that, because I mentioned I was going to do this, but I'm not trying to throw Mark under the bus or set him up for failure. But Mark, to that point, I have a video and I've showed this, what you just said. That is such an easy way to have all of your ridgeline material for your tarp. Right there, you could come right around a tree, hook it up, secure it, walk over to the next tree. All that cordage is deploying out behind you. Secure it, tighten it up, and then there's your ridgeline for a tarp. Have you done anything like that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. The cord is definitely, I mean, it's available for anything like that. And mainly what I have it for is just in case I need it, because I always have a hank of it in my bag. I've got the paracord handle on my G2. I'm usually wearing a paracord bracelet, so I have lots of cord on me. And then this is my last resort where kind of like pulling the parachute cord. But then
pull on the ripcord
side of it, once you get inside of it,
hang on. Do that again. Let me bring you up full screen here. Just give me a second. Yeah.
So
You got a good amount in there. Yep.
So I've got zip ties. I have some Blackbeard fire starter, which is this kind of fire rope stuff, and I've broken it apart. So I've got and then I carry a little compass in there. It's just a mini survival kit, an extra sharpening stone, your zip ties, and then your cord. So, and there's room in there for more, but that works for me.
Yeah, probably not a whole lot, except maybe on the other end. I would assume you probably got a little bit room for a few more of the flat items like the sharpening stone and compass. Because I said this before, you really don't want that up on over your shoulder. You want that down near the ends. I think it would me personally, I think it would be more comfortable of a ride.
2, 4, 6, 8. There's 10 feet of paracord. This is actually survival cord. So if I pull it apart, I've got fishing line, snare wire, wax cordage for starting fires, plus the remaining fibers of the paracord for multiple uses. So good stuff here. But that's it. So that's the strap, and that's the mother, and that's what I carry today. Tomorrow might be different. But the canteen and the cook set are always there.
Hey, just a couple comments. Gene's coming back at you because the screw tube people may not like it. Can you read that comment?
He said strap.
But back to the end of the cordage and Gene. So I think it's still on my website, the original padded strap wrap video where I show what we're just talking about of deploying the cordage. And that's what I have. I have a bunch of figure 9s and I need to do that in my G3 because in the main pocket of the G3 with a much larger tarp, I have that whole tarp with all the ridge line and all the tie downs and everything rolled in there for that same concept. And I'm using figure 9s for that. Figure 9s are also nice little tools to have, if you've got a little piece of shock cord. So when we send you a product, it comes with a piece of shock cord with a hanging tag. Don't throw that away. You can put, anything that's got a lanyard can go around that and then that's what you see right. If you can see it right here. Yeah, that's my shock cord. And then inside of here, I just got a whole bunch of small items. Well, here talking ain't doing. Almost lost it, and that could have hurt. But then to your point, Gene, and then I've just got a bunch of small items that are, on that shock cord. But you can, it's on my G3 right now. But I've got another one of these things set up, and that's where I have just a ton of figure 9s because figure 9s, learn how to tie knots. Learn 5 knots, 5 really good knots, and then learn how to tie those knots. And that'll probably, 5 to 10. I really think if you learn 5 good knots, and maybe to Phil's thing, that'll be another one of the videos that we do is showing people how to tie. Here's the 5 knots that I think can get you through most jams, and a jam knot is one of them. But a figure 9, to Gene's point, super simple, can do under duress with gloves. Inclement weather, nighttime. It'll cut down that time, and then there you go, and they don't fail. So. Figure 9, not a bad idea for what you had set up, Mark, is what he's kind of getting at on that deployment.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're using that a little different. That was just here it is. I need it in there. And that's, you're not doing a ridge line out of that because that's your survival stuff. That's your no shit. I am pulling the parachute cord.
Yeah, this is my ejection.
Yeah.
Help.
I need help. I need to get in that. All right. Hey, guys, let's see if anyone else has some questions. I want to just throw one more little thing out there. I just look, because I've had somebody not too terrible. That was a while ago. I guess it wasn't that long. Look, this is a lot of weight. And, there's still this thing called gravity. As much as you don't like it and whatever, there's gravity. So with Mark's rig or my rig, if you move forward, if you're doing stuff, you know, if Sasquatch picks you up and then flips you upside down, well, this is going to move around. That's how gravity works. Another little system, kind of going back to what Gene just said here, you can see this better, and there's a bunch of different ways. I could either attach this to the back, or what I have, honestly, when on mine's on a little keeper, and then I just run the keeper. Normally the keeper runs down. I run the keeper up through my belt, and so then it just kind of dangles a little bit, and then I can just reach over, grab my canteen, and then just hook this to the canteen.
I'm gonna do that.
Yep. And then that just, now my keeper is here, and then this can still move, but it only moves that distance right there and prevents it. So just a little tip that you might want to consider, because Mark's rig, Mark, I kind of want to, like, you know, maybe end it on this is, you know, like, I don't know. Have you ever weighed that, how much that is, you know, with a full canteen of water and whatever you have in the G3?
I've never weighed it, but it doesn't feel any more than 7 or 8 pounds.
Yeah, and that's with your water weight.
Yeah.
And then so to something that Mark does from living history, and I'm just kind of stumbled upon this TV show, and it's well, whatever, it's a series. I don't know if it's a TV show, but it has to do with the initial, you know, like the 1740 to or 1750 to 1850 kind of time period in America, with our Western expansion. You know, put the history and your opinions about it aside. But these men were out there literally blazing trails, you know, like all of these, Kit Carson. We were just talking about the other day, Mark, Fitzpatrick,
Jim Bridger,
right? You know, Daniel Boone. These guys had all of the stuff over their shoulders. That's even when they were on, like, that was their, if I've got to get off this horse and run for my life from whatever it is, Sasquatch, grizzly bear, Native Americans, you know, warring tribes, you know, bandits, whatever. They had all that survival equipment over their shoulder. And truth be told, that was a lot of the thought process. And I've never been able to pull this off for a photo, but this is like new material and slightly new designs to an old way of doing things that's still tried and true to this day. Yeah, that Mother Canteen Carrier and a G3 or a bedroll, doesn't have to be a G3, you know, whatever. It could be a blanket underneath there, a tarp, whatever you want secured to the bottom. And that's over your shoulder. And that is like the maximum amount of gear and survivability and in a minimalist over the shoulder type of platform.
And if any of you are thinking about running a bedroll, put the bedroll on so that the bundle stays down on your right hip, and then put your canteen on last over top of the bedroll, so you have access to your water. You can pick it up and move it around. If you put the bedroll on over top, you've locked everything down. So just a little tip.
That was a good one. Yeah, but that exactly. So you must have done that before, sir.
Oh, years and years and years of it.
More than once. Yeah, right? Yeah, more than once. No, but, and that's just a great idea. So, you know, like, it doesn't, and I'm not dogging rucksacks. I'm not dogging any of that stuff. I'm just simply saying, like, you know, if you drop everything else and this is all you have, if you've loaded it out right, and back to, you know, Valley Reb's point and the whole concept of the smoking rabbit, you know, if you've been training and, you know, doing your, you know, research and learning how to do more and really, like, you know, making your skills powerful, and then you add it with some good equipment that you know how to use, the probability of your success, of you being the person just laying down in a nice little thing of moss and smoking your pipe without any worries, just like, yeah, I got this. Let me just figure out what I'm doing next.
You just said something pretty key too. And that is use it. Use the gear. Don't. Yeah. You know, we see lots of pictures on the internet where people, you know, and their gear's shiny. I mean, this stuff is burnt. It's used. It's loved. It's, you know, and that, and by using it, you get better and more comfortable with it. Just becomes old hat.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with taking that picture of, you know, your brand new gear, you know, being excited.
Not at all.
But to your point of, but don't try to fake it. Like, you know, like there's one picture that's going to stand out for my whole rest of my life. May it be a long time, but it's a guy who's got, like, you know, a giant ruck on and all kinds of, you know, what are those cups called? Kiska cups, the wooden cup.
Kruska.
So he's got all this, like, all the bushcrafty stuff, on, and he's on the edge of a hill looking over this big, vista. And the thing was like, I just walked 10 miles up here and I just gained the view and I'm so happy. Dude, you know how it's bullshit because there's not an ounce of sweat coming through any of his clothing. His boots are super clean. You didn't just walk 10 miles through the woods and you've got clean boots. Yeah. There's no sweat. There's no nothing. And you can just almost imagine the guy, his buddy in the pickup truck, because the picture was elevated, who's like on the road behind him taking the picture. So to Valley Rev's point, it's okay. Just get out there and do it though. I mean, like, and then if you're, even if you fail, backyard,
you fail, so what? You're gonna fail.
Yeah, even if it's your backyard, whatever, get out there, learn the skills, practice, and get out there and just practice the skills. Don't do your first time of practice under like the harshest of conditions. So that would be, my pointer is like, don't go out in 40 below, with 30-mile-an-hour winds and say, this is the first time I'm going to set up a shelter or make a fire. No bueno. That's a bad idea. That's a technique, but there are definitely better ones.
Yes.
Hey, I want to come back to you into the frontiersman and that whole genre, and let's close it out with that. But just 2 comments came in. We got Hunter 1776. Hey, Freedom Family. And then we got Gene. When I have used a 2-side bag system, I have one over each shoulder, as Valley said. Water lasts in case you need to refill without taking it all off. Just think that stuff through. Common sense. Yep.
And that comes from using it,
Yeah.
When you go to use your water and you got to take everything off, it's like the last time that'll ever happen.
And here, and again, I've got plenty of rucksacks and I've spent most of my life using rucksacks. And, the thing about rucksacks is even, the more modern rucksacks, if you think the tactical ones with more pockets, you can be way more organized, but inevitably the thing that you need is always at the bottom of the rucksack. I mean, just a fact, right? So what I like about these systems is, again, do I even really need the rucksack? Is that what I'm really trying to accomplish today? Do I need a giant rucksack? Can I do it with a quote unquote assault pack? Can I do it with,
when I use a backpack, I always end up overloading it with stuff that I think I need and I never do.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if you just did this system and, the G3 could be, you could have the G3 over its own shoulder, on its own shoulder strap. And there you go. And then have, a bedroll or a tarp or something underneath the mother. And is that not seriously potentially enough to, for 3 days? I mean, like, honestly, I think with the G3, the gear roll on the bottom.
Out of that for 3 days.
Well, if you can't, then you should just stay home and keep playing Xbox, because then you shouldn't be in the woods. I mean, like, or or if you've packed it full of the wrong stuff because you don't know and you didn't talk to people and do some, get some training and just think of your environment. And, and Mark, let me just come back to you and the frontiersmen. And here's a question that I get people kind of saying, it's like, well, why don't you make a preloaded G3 or something like that? I'm like, I don't know anything about you. I don't know where you're conducting, what you're trying to do, where you're trying to do it, who's with you, your strengths, your weaknesses. And so when you think about the front,
it's personal to you.
Say that again.
Your loadout is personal to you and your skills, right? So you know your environment, just like you were saying. You know the environment you're going into and what your skills are. Plan accordingly.
Well, and then so this is where I was going with that. So when we think about Bridgers and Kit Carson and Daniel Boone and those kind of guys, like, I mean, I think
they went out with a musket.
Go ahead, say it.
They went out with a knife and a musket.
And maybe a blanket and tinder.
Yep. But then they foraged. They foraged off the land. They hunted. They trapped. They did their thing.
But so to the point I think I'm trying to make is they had minimal gear on them, but they did have gear, but they had, these are my things that I have to have. But then to the point we're making, but somebody taught them, they grew up, their grandfather, that other trapper, that, whoever it was, taught them these skills, and they operated within the confines of their capabilities and those skill sets and knew what tools to have and never be without. I mean, like literally, like, as you said, I always, this is my last ditch thing because it can do so much for me. It's the last, type of thing. So, I mean, how do you think they viewed that? How do you think they would view modern gear in that mindset?
I think there are some modern pieces of gear that are very compatible to what they used back then, flint and steel. Now we've got a ferro rod, or we've got a lighter, which is all in one, so we adapt to the time frame that we're in, but it's nice to be able to know how to use the more primitive ways just in case the modern tools fail. You can always fall back. I can fall back 200 years and still be okay, but somebody who's reliant on their GPS and doesn't know how to use a compass, or they are relying on a lighter and the lighter breaks, the spring breaks or whatever, now they can't use it. Now they don't know how to build a fire. I watched a show last week called Outlast on Netflix, and it's a show where these 4 groups get together and then they're seeing how long they can last in a survival situation. Some of them didn't even know how to build a fire. They'd never built a fire. Just some very basic things, and then as your skills progress, you learn how to do things like right now I'm working on my own Cusca and whittling it. But, those are just skills that you learn, and you don't know everything at once, but you pick them up as you go along and as you experience life and all the different challenges that come with being in the outdoors. Mother Nature's a biatch, and she gives it to you without, she doesn't hold back. And if you're caught in the middle of it, you need to know how to deal with her. So, having that confidence and gaining the experience by actually going out and doing it instead of watching YouTube videos and saying, things is different than actually going out and experimenting with it and seeing what works for you.
And that's a great, kind of a great point and great plate to end it. It's like, don't be afraid, right? We don't know what we don't know, and you got to get out there. And I think, Mark, honestly, I think in today's society, this is just my personal opinion, we've created a society where failure, like no one wants to admit they're wrong. No one wants to admit
everybody gets a trophy.
Well, yeah, that's what I was ultimately working towards. We're giving away trophies and participation for where you shouldn't have it. And that breeds a false sense of confidence, and an arrogance and a egoism, So I personally think, no, that's okay. Like you will be such a better person. Like, oh, look out, Mark went out there and, he didn't. Yeah, but now I do. Can you? Well,
now I know.
Yeah, now I know. Yeah. And now I've done it. Now I know 5 ways to do it even better, since that last time. But you got to get out there and do it. And failure is going to be a part of that. That is life, plain and simple. So, but don't be afraid of that.
And like the saying says, embrace the suck. That's where you're going to learn things.
Well, again, but just don't make your first time, 40 below with 30-degree winds. And a blizzard. Yeah. Don't make that your first one. But if it is your first time, have at least some background and some knowledge in your hip pocket where you're like, okay, I've never experienced this before. However, I know how to make a fire. I know, the difference between thermodynamics, hot air, cold air, have some of that at least in your hip pocket, so you got a fighting chance to get through.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got for us? We're going to wrap it up. Hour 13. Gene just said, if you didn't die, you can learn by your mistakes, Yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
Right. That's right, Gene. All right, Mark, give us final comments, closing thoughts, and we'll wrap this one up. I just want to tell you first, thanks for coming on. I know you were busting your ass at the end of your day to try to make it. So from me and everybody watching, whether it's in the chat right now or later, really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and share, how you do things and how you view it. But what do you got for us, sir?
I'll leave you with one little piece of advice, and that's be so confident in your skills that you are not afraid.
But that's not false confidence, right? Get out there and use them. Get confident. Yeah.
Get confident.
There you go.
Gain confidence.
Yeah. And you do that not by, blowing your own ego and tooting your own horn, by getting out there and doing it. That's how you learn. And don't be afraid to fail, as long as it's not in the face of a grizzly bear or Sasquatch, because those two things will rip you apart. So,
What a way to go.
Yeah. Well, honestly,
let's go. Let's dance. I'm going to die. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Seriously. All right. That's actually a good point. I actually posted something on that little chat thing about Boromir, not from the movies, but from the anime, like the only good animated Lord of the Rings. And Boromir goes down swinging. And I post that, like, just to your point, like, hey, if you're going to go down, I mean, like,
blaze of glory, baby.
Go down swinging like this guy. I mean, he's a badass. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on our Loadout Live, the 5th of December. I already kind of did the schedule. Huge shout out to Valley Reb. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Guy takes great pictures. Again, living history, outdoor gear. He does a lot of to answer some of those questions. The videos where it's just his hands and he's showing you everything that he's carrying with him. And it's not just he's got a gear. The guy has gear. He's out there using it. I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous 99.9% of the time, or at least living vicariously 99.9% of the time. I'm like, motherfuckers out there doing some fun shit again.
It's fun.
I can't even lift. I can, matter of fact, that mother was probably
get off the couch.
Yeah, well, that mother was probably at the end of my weight restriction I'm on right now. Like, so yeah, get out there, do what you can. And again, you got to know your own limitations, but we'll see you on the tomorrow night, CLS After Dark. I apologize. I'm just kind of torn between what topic I want to do. You can see I'm in a little bit of a mood, so I might kind of call an audible. I got to make some phone calls here tonight and try to figure it out. But we'll see you tomorrow night, CLS After Dark, CLS Live. And then, I already did the schedule. Again, huge shout out to Valley Reb. Give him a follow on Instagram. Get yourself a Smoking Rabbit patch. He's got a couple cool ones. Hey, real quickly on that, are you still doing those guys?
Yeah, we've got the psychedelic rabbits on the website too.
Yeah, that actually is my favorite. So I like that one. I'm turning into a little bit of a hippie, boys and girls. So I like that one. Tie-dye rabbit. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching tonight. As always, if you got questions, comments, you know the deal. Reach out anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Until then, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. We will see you tomorrow night at CLS After Dark. All right, everybody, be good. Woo!